We want to take a moment to acknowledge there are a variety of people who could describe themselves as neurodivergent, and this can include a diverse list of conditions, disorders, etc.
And while our experiences may specifically relate to autism spectrum disorder, ASD, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, we hope that all our listeners can feel welcome and relate to the shared experience of being neurodivergent in a neurotypical world, because this is our safe space.
Hey, welcome to Black Girl, Brown Girl, Squirrel, your go-to spot for women of color that are neurodivergent. We're your hosts, Shai and Alexis, two neurodivergent sister friends just trying to figure it all out.
So grab your favorite snack, sit back, relax, and let's squirrel together.
Hey, Squirrel.
Hey, Squirrel. Hey, friend. I am immediately nervous. Cannot believe this is a real thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's a real thing that's happening. We're really doing this. You still on board? Okay, well, that's cool. Well, I guess we should introduce ourselves to everybody. I'm Shai.
I'm Lex.
What's up, Lex? And we are your hosts for Black Girl, Brown Girl, Squirrel. It is a show by Black neurodiverse women for Black and Brown neurodiverse women. So our goal is to talk about our journey in coming into this whole world of being neurodivergent. What does it mean? What does it look like, feel like? How do we live with it every day? And of course, tips and tricks and strategies to help us all survive on a daily basis. So, yeah, you ready to do this?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's do this.
Well, I guess we should start by talking about how we got here, first of all. And we'll tell our individual stories in future episodes. But basically, when I got diagnosed, one of the first things I did was I started looking around at resources for people who are neurodivergent and trying to understand, particularly women of a certain age, because I am 50. Well, I'm 51 now. And so I wanted to better understand, my diagnosis of ADHD, PDA, rejection dysmorphia, or sensitivity dysmorphia. I don't even know what I am, but all the letters.
And I believe it is projection sensitive dysphoria.
Yes.
I think that might be close.
I think that's close. Yes. She's always going to correct me. No. She's precise that way. But the thing was, I was looking around for information. And although I did find a lot of information, the one thing I did not find was information specifically for Black and Brown women, because we have a very complex relationship with the medical industry. And not only that, with mental health, and also too, in just having resources available to us. So as I looked around, particularly looking for podcasts and also YouTube channels and things like that, I was not really finding anything solely dedicated to Black and Brown women. I did find one podcast. We're still looking. We're not saying they're not out there. We're still looking. And she was based in the UK, if I recall correctly, but, and it was UK focused. So we were looking for some that would be a little bit broader for the Black and Brown diaspora. And I didn't find anything. So I was like, okay, maybe this is something that I can do. And then, of course, that involved getting someone else involved, because I didn't want to do this by myself, and having different perspectives. And so I had one girlfriend who was going to do it with me, but her health, unfortunately, wasn't going to allow her to do it. And then the only other person that I thought would be fun to do this with was Lex. So I go, hey, Lex. And she's like, hey, friend. And I'm like, so I have this idea. And she's like, well, my millennial dream has always been on a podcast. And I was like, how about hosting one?
Yeah, that is so funny, because I was like, it is my millennial dream and my millennial duty to be on a podcast at least one time. I don't know, quite frankly, for me to be in my 30s and I've never done one, I'm behind. Like I should have been out here, but but it's I definitely never thought I would actually host one. That it was like definitely outside of the realm of dreams that I had. And it's so funny when you were first telling me about the possibility of this show. This is the one I was most excited to hear because I was like, oh, I don't think I've heard anything like that. Nothing that I've come across in my podcast recommendations over the many years I've been listening to them has been about that specifically, and definitely not about neurodivergence as it pertains to Black and brown women. And I also like the idea of this being something that is for not just Black but also brown women, because we are
Yes.
both obviously Black. Well, I guess it ain't that obvious, they can't see us, but we are both Black. But I do want to understand more and hear more perspectives of people who are um, people of color, women of color, but from various backgrounds and
Right.
experiences, because every person's is different. And the
Yeah,
more you learn about that, the more it even helps with interacting with other people and
I
having better
agree.
relationships with people.
I agree. And I think also too it helps to break down any potential barriers that are inadvertently put up because, you know, not to get all political or whatever, but just to say that race in this country generally boils down to black and white. And the
Hmm.
reality is there's so many different shades in between and they often get left out of the conversations. And so the one thing that I didn't want to do was have anybody left out of the conversation. So when it came to women of color, and I just thought we all have a variety of experiences that mirror each other and also ones that differ from each other. But I felt like the more that we also understand that, then we have the ability to start bridging some gaps and perhaps even help the professionals that are trying to work with us, whether they are mental health professionals, whether they're teachers, coaches, whatever, they can also better understand our perspectives that often go unheard,
Hmm.
if you will.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I was really excited. And I thought too, having two different generations, because we
Hmm.
are approaching this at different stages of our lives and we both got diagnosed at different stages of our lives, I think that's really impactful too. Because as we've talked, I mean, we've been friends for years, but as we've talked about this more in recent years, it seems like there was a lot that was overlapping and a lot that was kind of different. So that was the other reason why I thought this would be really cool to do with you. So, and besides, you're funny to me. So, you know, even when you don't try to be, you're just like, no, I'm for real. I'm serious. And I'm like, and now I know, okay, that's because she's neurodivergent and I'm neurodivergent, but we're diverging in different ways. So,
Yep. Yep.
and
At
that's
least you
also,
like it. That's helpful. At
yes.
least you
Well,
like it. That is very good. I love that for me personally.
of course I love you. But that was the other thing too, is I felt like the more that we spent time talking about this, that I felt like I really got to know you better and I
Mm.
understood you better. And I felt like, you know, because in case you guys don't know, Lex is like, well, you don't know because you're just now listening, but Lex is like my little sis in real life. So yeah. And I just felt like we talked about so many other things over the years, but when this all came about, it was like, whoa, and so that really, she knows how to comfort me when I need comfort when I'm dealing with stuff. Um and so that's why I asked her to make me some brownies with some walnuts, but we'll see if she's going to come through with that.
I have that on my list of things to get done.
All
I'm,
right.
I'm
All right, it's on a to-do
hmm
list. She makes amazing brownies, you guys. Amazing brownies. But it was just one of those things that the more that we talked about it, the more we saw the commonalities and also some of the nuances that come from being in the world of being neurodivergent. And to how this needs to be more normalized. Why do we have to be different, so to speak? I don't mind being different. I love standing out, but I'm tired of conforming to a world that's not trying to conform to me. So, yeah.
Mm, that part. It definitely does not conform. The world was not built for us in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, and yeah, we'll get more into it in future episodes about our individual stories. But because we both came to different diagnoses or realizations fairly recently, it's like we've been friends for years, but in many ways, this part is new for us, and then
Yes.
also new for our friendship. So
Yes.
it's almost like we're growing together and more understanding of each other and of ourselves
Yes.
and then our friends, because somehow neurodivergent people love to collect other people like that to be their friends. I don't, ain't a typical friend in sight. Yeah, it helps a lot of different ways for us to kind of understand more and more.
It's so funny because so if you are newly diagnosed or you think that you might be neurodivergent, over time, you will start looking around at all the people around
Hmm.
you and you will start diagnosing people. And you'll be like, nope, you're AUHDHD, you are,
Hmm.
you're ADD, you're this or that. You're going to start diagnosing people. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. And sometimes you'll be right and sometimes you won't. But it's funny how you look around and you start to see the traits. Other people call them symptoms, but you start to see the traits of neurodivergence in the people that are around you, the people that you love, and you'll just go, okay, yep, that's one. And then you'll say,
Hmm.
just like said, I've been collecting them all my life, but just didn't realize.
Hmm. 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 Yeah,
But it
it's
all
kind of similar to if you are a person who starts therapy, your own mental health journey, and then you start to learn about different challenges, and then you start thinking about the people you ran across in life, and you be like, oh, that's why they did that. I got a friend, her mom calls it the undiagnosed, the the people who got issues, but they don't know they got issues. And you give them, you cut them some slack because you're like, oh, baby, they don't know. They don't
yes.
know. Hmm.
I love that. I love that. I think for me anyway, I started looking around and when I realized that there were so many different people, but also too how hard we fight to fit into a mold that we're just not meant to fit into. And then when you look at how many years you fought to fit that mold, and I think that's why so many of us are creatives in a way. We break out of that, or so many of us are analytical and can do, tech things because it's like, you know what? I can break out of this. This does not have to be this way. And we're the backbone of many corporations. And we'll talk about that also in future episodes as far as being creatives, being analytical, being able to keep the finances straight, things like that. It's really fascinating to me to see all the aspects or the different areas where we use our uniqueness, if you will, and how it really supports a business, whether an entrepreneur or a corporation as an individual contributor. But I've just been amazed going on this journey, so I'm glad that you're with me to go on this journey too. And yeah.
Listen, I am thankful that you asked me to be a part of it. Thankful as well as I cannot stress enough. Absolutely terrified. But I'm gonna try to have fun. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And maybe eventually it won't feel like a roller coaster. So when I asked Lex to do this, every time I checked in with her, I'm like, so how you doing today? She's like, yeah. One minute I'm up, next minute I'm like, woo. And the next minute I'm up, next minute and she's like, I'm going on a roller coaster. And I was like, okay. So hopefully this will be a fun ride. A sugar rush, rush, sugar rush, rush, sugar rush, rush
I cannot.
ride. We're into K-pop
Oh,
as well. We'll talk about that at another time too. So
yeah,
we're
I
into
was gonna say if you didn't understand that, you just don't understand. Some people get it.
yes.
The girls who get it do, and the girls who don't.
Oh, hashtag facts. So you're going to learn a lot about us on this podcast as we go along, and you are also going to see a lot of yourself in us. And also, too, we hope that along the way you'll stop and have conversation with us. Leave comments on our posts, leave comments on the podcast. Let us know what questions you have, what you like to learn about. If you like to share your story, we have ways that you can do that as well. So you can always leave comments, or you can also go to now. See, you're going to hear me on my computer now because I have to go to my actual page and figure out because we're all of this is new to us, but we're excited to be here, and I just want to make sure that we're doing things the way that we wanted to do them. Oh, so I should tell you why we came up with the name while I'm looking up this other stuff, right? So the name Black Girl, Brown Girl, Squirrel. I was actually riding in the car with my mom. I forgot where we were going, but we were going somewhere, and my ADHD was just running wild, as it always does, and imagination was going. And I was like, I would love to have a podcast talking about this. And I'm just going on and on. And then I was like, oh, black girl, brown girl, squirrel, because that's what we do. And I was like, this is perfect. And so I'm sitting in the car and I was like, my mom has no idea what I'm doing. She's sitting there listening to her music going. And I was like, I got it, Mom. She's like, what are you talking about? What
She's like, you got what?
Exactly. And I was just like, no. I was like, black girl, brown girl, squirrel. And she's like, okay, now what are you coming up with? Because I'm always coming up with something, right? So she's like, now what are you coming up with? So once I explained the concept, and it just came to me like this, I felt like it was the Matrix where everything was getting downloaded into my brain. And I was like, I understand it now. I can see it. I see it. And I just spewed out. I went home and spewed all of this stuff out. And many of us who are neurodivergent, depending on how yours works, because everybody works differently. Some of us, we get that. We can see the big picture. We see all the details. We can spew it out. And then my only fear was that when I was done with getting it out, that I would be done, that I wouldn't do anything further with it, because that is typical behavior for me. Like, I have the big picture and I have written up business plans. I have literally stayed up overnight and written like 20, 30 business plans for different businesses. And then I'm like, okay, somebody else go run this because I'm done. I did my part. So I didn't want to do that when it came to this, because it was too important to me. It was really too important to me. And also too, that's why it was important to get the right co-host to be here. And my other friend, her name is Kiosha, who was going to do this with me. She will be on our show because she is also a coach for, she teaches strategies on like organizational and time management strategies for those of us who are neurodivergent, particularly with ADHD. So she'll be on the show. She just couldn't do it on a regular basis like we could. But that's why I knew that if I could not get either her or Lex, the show would not get done. So I didn't tell Lex that. I didn't want to put that kind of pressure on her. But I was like, I need you to do the show because I don't know anybody else to do the show. But
you said it a little bit. You said it a little bit. You definitely did a little bit, but it's okay because you know how I am. I am a person who, if I'm like, but I don't want to, it doesn't matter. Like,
yes,
I'm simply not
exactly.
gonna do it.
And
it really worked out in your favor. But I
yes,
was like, nah, that sounds fun actually.
she
So.
was like, okay, well, give me some time to think about it. And I gave her a week, and she hits me up the first thing the next morning, like at 8:30 in the morning. She's like, so about that podcast, let's do it. And I was like, okay. All right. I was prepared to wait a week, but okay. But anyway, I was saying that if you guys wanted to share your stories, if you wanted to reach out to us, one way you can do that is by going to our podcast webpage, fanlist.com/BGBG Squirrel. So again, that's fanlist.com/BGBG Squirrel. Of course, all of our socials will be down in our show notes as well. So you'll be able to find us on social media. We're on Instagram and Threads, and we'll have audio loaded up to YouTube as well. So yeah, we're excited to be here. Is that it for our first show?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we did a good job of explaining to the listeners how we got here, why we here, and what we hope to do.
Alrighty then. Well, I guess we say thank you for squirreling with us. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. We want to thank you, our fellow sister squirrels, for joining us today. If you found this episode helpful, please take a moment and share your thoughts with us and your fellow squirrels by taking a screenshot of the episode, then tagging BGBG Squirrel in your IG stories.